Welcome to my YouTube channel, AZ Cloud Trainings. Today, we're going to touch upon some very basic concepts. Number one is what is three-tier web application, and number two is what is VPC. We're also going to see what is subnet, what is private subnet, what is public subnet, and how to set them up on your AWS account. So let's get started. Let me just bring up a small presentation. Okay, so we are going to see what's a three-tier web application architecture look like. As the name suggests, it has three tiers or three layers. The, the first layer is client tier. In this layer, basically, your workstation, personal computers, mobile devices, IoT devices sit. The second tier is web or application tier. This is where the application logic is hosted. And the third tier is your database tier, which basically hosts the database where the application data resides. What is VPC? VPC is basically a virtual network that you can set up in your AWS account, or it basically logically isolates your AWS resources so that you can operate in your own data center. Let's go to AWS Management Console. Okay, what do we have here in VPC? Okay, so when I click on my VPC dashboard, I see there is already a VPC that exists in my account. Now this is called a default VPC. So AWS accounts that are created after 4th December 2013 come with a default VPC. So this VPC is already created for you. You don't have to create one. It's ready to use. You can launch your EC2 instances, or you can even launch a AWS service like Elastic MapReduce, Elastic Load Balancer, or RDS or Relational Database System. Okay, so what are the different components of a default VPC? Subnets. Subnets are basically a subset of your VPC. So here you can see there are three subnets that are already created for me. Now, if I scroll little to right, you can see these are basically created in different availability zone. So a default subnets are basically the subnets that are created in each of the availability zone. Now, what happens if Amazon adds another availability zone in this region, say US East 2D, then AWS will automatically create a new subnet into that new availability zone in a few days of creation of that particular availability zone, unless you have done some changes to this default VPC. It also comes with a route table and an internet gateway. Now, internet gateway is basically your way to connect these subnets to internet. So the traffic coming out of these subnets will be able to access internet using the internet gateway. That means these subnets are public subnets. So public subnets are basically the subnets which can access internet, versus the private subnet will not have access to the internet. You can convert a default public subnet into a private subnet. You just have to delete the entry from your main routing table, which basically goes to the destination 0.0.0.0 from the target internet gateway. But beware, it will basically block the internet traffic coming from your EC2. So your EC2 instance, which is sitting inside the subnet, will not be able to talk to the internet anymore. Let us go back to the VPC dashboard and let us try to delete. Let me just move this and say delete a VPC. So when I delete a default VPC, it basically deletes the internet gateway and the subnets along with it. I have to acknowledge and then type in the delete default VPC. That way, I'm giving authorization to AWS to delete my default VPC. Now it also deleted the route table that came up with it and security group that was associated with this as well. We can very well create the default VPC just by clicking actions and create default VPC. So now what I deleted is now available again. So it created the VPC with all the subnets, and along with the internet gateway, it's already attached to the VPC. It also brought the routing table back. So that is it for this video. In our next video, we will create a 3-tier web application. See you in the next video.